I am very honored to introduce our next speaker. They came to play sledge hockey with us, and I can tell you, I play hockey with a bunch of guys, and this individual is the best hockey player that I played with this year. So without further ado, I give you Danica.
All right, so unlike all of the other speakers today who were wonderful, I have my speech written down, so I can't quite trust myself up here. But my name is Danica McPhee. I am an L1 paraplegic, and I have been this way for just over a year. I was injured on a Mexican vacation with my boyfriend, and it was a late night. We were looking for an adventure. I can't tell you how many times in my life I've uttered that sentence before. I need an adventure right now. And in the past, the sentence has sent me to the top of trees, to the roof of more than one house, and over my fair share of fences. But this time it was different. I just hadn't figured that out yet. So we were off to the beach, and I was walking along a ledge toward the staircase that would lead us there. But without hesitation, I thought, why would I walk when I can jump? So I did, and I jumped onto the beach below. The problem was that I didn't land on the sand. I dropped like a pencil onto the concrete, and I burst my vertebrae. My life changed in that moment, the moment that I was asked if I was okay, to which of course I responded, yeah, I'm fine. But when I tried to stand up, I couldn't. My legs had already stopped listening to my brain after a 24-year relationship, and I couldn't move. Needless to say, after 2 days in sunny Mexico, I was shipped to the hospital, received a surgery there, shipped back to Canada, received my other surgery there, and began my road to recovery. Over the past year, I've come to understand that a lot of people see my disability as the defining Danica factor, in the same way that they see their own special talents as their X factor. But I'm so many other things, and I want to be seen for those other things. I volunteer in my community, I will be a social worker someday, and I'm an aspiring athlete. I say this because I've had to come face to face with my own ignorance while I was in recovery. After my second day in Toronto rehab, I was told that I would get a visit from a woman with the same injury as me. She had been injured years ago, and she was supposed to become my confidant. My mind was reeling the night before she arrived, but not with the questions that would pique my curiosity today. The questions like, what are you taking in school? Do you play sports? Do you like to dance? No, my mind was reeling with one and only one thought. If that woman rolls in here in a wheelchair, I will lose my mind. And she did, and I did. And all I could do was cry when I looked at her. She knew exactly why, and I can't imagine that it felt very good for her. Between my sobs, she told me a little bit about herself. She was a teacher, she was a national athlete, she was in a happy relationship, and she was living on her own in downtown Toronto. She had the life that I had wanted, the life that I had somehow so ignorantly thought depended on my legs to achieve. She changed me that day, and she changed my view of the disabled community. It was then that I realized not a single opportunity had been taken away from me after my accident. In fact, on most days I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I've simply been given an opportunity to become a better person. And challenge accepted, thank you. So there I am. I'm sitting in my rehab facility alone, which by the way was not the happiest place in the world, I'm sure some of you know. And I'm stuck in my own head, and I'm thinking about all the things that I had imagined for myself, for my future, and all the ways that those plans had to change. With change being the key word here. These plans had to change, but they didn't have to disappear. Some of the most ambitious people that I know are the disabled people that I've met along my journey to recovery. These people are problem solvers. We are creative, organized, and strong. We are just a bit more caring. We are a lot more patient. What is even more special is that we aren't simply bragging when we make these claims, because these qualities are bred of pure necessity. These qualities are the ones that allow us to thrive in a society that just isn't built to cater to everyone equally. And I certainly credit my recent acquisition of these personality traits to the hardships that I've endured. So let me elaborate on the word strong, maybe, which I believe to be the most important self-descriptor that anyone can place upon themselves, especially a disabled person. Strong is not only a physical characteristic, but an emotional one. It doesn't really matter how many push-ups you can do or how many arm wrestles you can win, although it is nice to have those muscles when you're pulling yourself off the ground after an already embarrassing fall. But what is very important is that you stay emotionally strong, because you'll never get used to certain things. Things like convenience store owners gasping when you enter and asking you what happened. Like, do I have food on my face? I don't know. Oh, the wheelchair. Okay. Just another day for me. You will never understand why most people don't seem to know what constitutes an accessible bar or restaurant. There was an instance where a restaurant owner told me that they would put down a ramp before I arrived. And when I got there, what he meant by ramp was a sheet of plywood over their stair set. It was creative, but it was not accessible by any means. And you'll always have to grit your teeth when you see a car pull up in front of the ramp toward the mall, and they run away from it. Dealing with these situations gracefully requires the strength that any human is capable of mustering up when duty calls, and duty seems to have my number on speed dial. But this inner strength is most effective when packaged neatly with patience, creativity, and the empathy that I mentioned previously, so that every one of us can not only learn to smile through those speed bumps that come with our quest for accommodation, but turn those dark situations into learning experiences for everyone involved. It is very rare to find a person who steadfastly refuses to learn how to better accommodate his fellow people. In my opinion, most people, and this would have included me before my injury, just don't know how. What is beautiful about facing the darker parts of life, though, is that they always offer up a chance to brighten the moment, a chance to teach someone, to learn something, and to solve a problem. There's always going to be a lesson to learn from your pain, and I learned a life-changing one that day in rehab. Life will wait for no one, and my constant preoccupation with the ability to walk was a goal that was born of fear. I'm stronger now than I've ever been. My goals go far beyond ambulation, and I can hardly remember what I was so afraid of. That's it.